Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending at YouTube. You can me out always Joy Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, uh, Monday. Uh, time is flying. I think this is the last, I believe, full week of February because next week it's only going to be like about 6 days because February is the shortest month of the year, and then it'd be March that Saturday, be March 1st. So next week's gonna be a short week. It's gonna be just from the 23rd to the 28th. Sometimes you might have a leap year. Every now and then, I think it's every 3 or 4 years is leap year, if I remember. But this is the last full week of February, and the rest is gonna be finished off, with a few days left of February and in March. We have here a lovely guest. She's been out here before. She is a competitor. She's been a guest. She's a lovely lady I've met a while back. Her and her husband were guests on my channel, and she's also been on a couple of my podcasts. We have Mrs. Beverly Coleman coming through here.
Hey.
Hey, how you
You.
doing? Yeah, it's been a while since we had her. You look like you've been sweating. You been working out?
I have been. Yeah, I just really came home not too long. Kai, you want to get in the picture too? Yeah, just not too long ago got home. I've been running around trying to get appointments. Today is one of the very few days that I had. Kai, they're not talking to you.
You're not the first person that had a dog doing a live stream. It's
Oh
it's
my
it's it's,
God. Kai
it's
is
never hey there, pup.
say, hey. See, she thinks this is funny. She's trying to figure out
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, that's it about dogs. Yeah, you need to see your old mirror reflection fix another dog. So
Yeah.
if you people have heard, I've done this before. We talked about this on my channel where we had talked about how it's important for the health of a bodybuilder, especially with the cost of things now. Oh God.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I mean, if uh, a great man, President Biden, he had put in a thing where you could negotiate your prices for your medication, but now, dumbass, he did what he did. So it's just
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
yeah,
gonna it's gonna get crazier before it's all over.
yeah. You saw he fired the nuclear people. They had to rehire him.
Yes. I mean, how do you like make all these decisions and not know what you're doing?
He don't read.
Exactly. Exactly.
He don't
Exactly.
read. And you got another dumbass sitting him in his press. It was because you're not even been voted for. What the fuck you doing here? Excuse my language.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
never mind that. But as you know, one lady who I'm a fan of, I follow on social media. Also, been following a while in the bodybuilding world, and we also know this lady. She knows her very well. That is Hella Trevino. A while back I mentioned that Hella had some surgery
Mhm.
on her knee, and then she just got discharged from the hospital. She was in I think she was in Switzerland, and then she went over. She stayed in Sweden for a minute with her dear friend Helen Trevino, and she started
Mhm.
following me on my IG. That's cool. I
Oh,
got Helen
great,
Trevino following me.
great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, the big Swede, and if you
She's
know,
great. She is an awesome person though. Like, when I was posing with her, I was very afraid because she's so top tiered and up there. She's been in the game a long time too. And she was so down to earth. Like, she was just like I said before, she was like talking to somebody you meet in the gym or, in the mall or somewhere. She was very humble, gave me some very good advice. And she's a great person.
true story. When I went to Savannah back in 2022, it was after the show. I met her and I talked for a bit because I asked her, how Helen doing. She says Helen's doing fine. She's doing fine. And, she also put out the documentary "Too Big for His World," where she addressed Arnold Schwarzenegger at the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic press conference, which is the Arnold Schwarzenegger coming up in a few more weeks, and then you have
Yes.
the amateur show coming up this next weekend. And she addressed that. He addressed it with why you don't have women's bodybuilder, but as Hella, she is, just having no surgery because it's pretty much about 3 years ago, about the same time when she had surgery when she injured her shoulder.
Hmm.
And, it's tough because especially, what you go through as a competitor, as a person. Here's a video she posted. This was maybe a few days after she got discharged.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your support. In these hard days, like knee surgery is no fun, and I just want to say thank you for all the uplifting messages, DMs, comments, and also financial support. Please also continue supporting on my GoFundMe. I'm not done with the medical bills yet, but I will at some point. Right now, I'm just focusing on healing and recovering, and I hope to get back to the States soon. I am. I'm keeping faith. I'm keeping my faith, and you guys are helping a lot with your stories. Also, many of you guys have had surgery as well. So thank you for sharing your stories, and thank you so much for all the support. The link for my GoFundMe is in the bio. Love you guys. Mwah.
Well, hope you're doing well, Hella. It's tough. This is the a video she posted from her GoFundMe.
Help me heal my knees and keep my dreams alive. Hi, I'm a passionate bodybuilder seeking help to save my knees. Daily pain is making it difficult to maintain my career in bodybuilding. These knee injuries have stripped away the joy I once found in training and competing. I need support to reclaim my knees and reignite my passion for bodybuilding. Your assistance can transform my life and help restore my dreams. Help me walk and train again.
Yeah, I know. GoFundMe is a very popular platform for a lot of people who, especially competitors, who deal with things like we're gonna pop up. Here's the GoFundMe right here. And give me a second if I'm gonna have to get the link, and I will pop it up. Now, right now, not much in it because, like I said, most people, it's that time of year, money's kind of tight. Everybody's waiting on their tax returns.
And people are really trying to watch your money now because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Jobs and groceries just to eat, probably, with all the different things that's going on. I mean, we went and bought eggs the other day. They were like $20 a box.
I don't eat eggs. That's the thing.
Yeah, see,
yeah.
They were $20 for a 60 count. Whereas maybe just about 6 months to a year ago, they were only like $6 or $7 for a 60 count. So, people are really going to be watching their money because we don't know how everything's going to go soon. So, yeah. And health wise, you want to eat healthy, but it's going to get so expensive, and you're just going to have to. I told my husband I might grow a little garden, just put some tomatoes and some different things out there that we can eat on in the summertime because everything's going to get so expensive.
Yeah, because my mom used to have a garden. She had a beautiful garden. We when we were kids, we didn't have like a water hose. We had a pump. So we had to pump and carry buckets and to make sure we water her garden. She even grew a peach tree. She had tomatoes and other plants and stuff. She sometimes after when the peach tree really grew, fully grown, sometimes she took it and started canning the peaches. That was pretty good. Sometimes in the summer or she make a peach pie or peach cobbler out of them.
Yeah,
the country. You have to learn, especially growing in the country and living off of assistance. So, folks, I'm gonna leave the link in the comment section, and if you're someone who's interested in maybe helping Hella out, sending out her best wishes, and if you get more than a few bucks, I'm not asking for a lot, folks, but just a little something. I know a lot of people, they don't have that much luck when it comes to finances, especially as bodybuilders. You have so many expenses that you have to deal with, the cost of training, for the men, I know it costs them a good bit because, they have to get ready and prep and grow because your husband competes. And for the women, I think it's always going to be the biggest cost is like show day. Because when you're prepping, because your suits, your hair, your makeup, not just the tanning and everything else, the other additives, especially if you compete in some of the high heel divisions like TNA divisions, like I mentioned, like wellness or figure like that. But
Even the transportation costs, getting there. You know, the hotels, if you're doing airfare, gas. I mean, it's a lot. And you know, at the end of the day, yes, it's a hobby and we enjoy it, but some people, you know, it's their livelihood too. And that's why I really think it's important that some kind of way, I'm not advocating a union, but there needs to be something, especially when you get to the pro level, of some kind of, I don't know how to describe it, something that needs to be given back to, especially the women. They don't get as much money, you know, as we've talked about before on other shows, as the men do in some of the shows. But I just think the women, I mean, they put out the most expense. So there needs to be something that evens out the playing field.
Yeah, like one thing is like you as an amateur, you have to pay for your shows, and you still have
Yeah.
to pay to be registered in NPC because you have to have
Yep.
that. That's another space. And with the pros, unless you are doing masters, generally you compete shows for free, but
Yes.
you have to always, pay your fee every year, your dues.
Yes.
And that's the thing is, where's that money going to? I mean, that's the question. If you're paying like up to $207 a year, what is it just paying, like even if you join a club, some clubs they even have some kind of help you out, like if a club ever gets hurt, we got this money here, we got to store it up from him, it's club fees, we put it towards something that he might need. If you're part of a union, they even when you go on strike in the union, you still get paid by the union because the fact that they know it's hard to live without some way to pay for it's not much, but it's enough to try to maybe keep the dogs at bay.
Exactly. That's the one good thing about it here in Texas. A lot of the promoters here, they do try to step in and go, okay, whoever gets the overall, we'll pay for you to go to nationals. So, you know, Texas has a really big bodybuilding group. So I do like that, but I think most of the money, though, as we discussed before, is made on an amateur level because you got more amateurs competing than you do pros. But I still think even at the amateur level, there needs to be some kind of incentive, I guess you could say, to, offset some price. I'm not talking like every show, but some shows give some kind of incentive. But then you got to think about it. There's people way at the top that we don't know about that may be getting paid. They have to make their money, I guess, some kind of way to promote these shows, to keep things running. But it would be, I think it'd be a good idea to be more transparent so people will know where the money's going. I mean, I think with any corporation, you need to know who's on what level and who's where. And, kind of that way it gives you an idea of, okay, so now I think this is why they're charging this for that, versus it being such a vague, well, because a lot of us do wonder, well, where's all this money? Because you get so many competitors. I've been to shows where they've had like 400 to 600 people competing. Well, if you add that times, if some of those people are in different classes, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So, I guess maybe they think maybe it's none of our business to know where the money goes. But it would be nice for some transparency. I guess that's what I'm really trying to say.
And especially when you have an athlete who gets a situation where they get injured or hurt, or I remember years ago when you had the female bodybuilder who died in Spain backstage. We didn't have in most sports you have like medical assistants, you have a doctor on call, you have EMTs just in case. And they do have some stuff like maybe water or air, oxygen, like that. But you need those people you can bring in who knows how to use that stuff properly, just in case somebody don't know how to use it.
And that's a good point you're making, because I'm trying to think. There may be some doctors or nurses. I haven't seen any, but like I said, I haven't competed in about 4 years. I took a hiatus, but I think that's also an excellent idea, because there are competitors that are doctors and there are competitors that are nurses and they are in the medical field, even firefighters. So it might be a good idea to reach out to them and say, hey, we'll let you get into a show for free if you were willing to, provide medical assistance or be backstage just checking on the athletes. Because I think that's important, because sometimes you're so dehydrated and so tired and so just everything's going on until somebody needs to check on you to make sure that you're okay. Because some people, bodies are totally different. Some people they might be to the point where they're about to pass out. That's like with anything. You know, some people say, oh, it's just the bodybuilders, but that's even if you're playing baseball or soccer or anything can happen to your body. So I think that is an excellent idea to have medical personnel or someone checking on the athletes, making sure, even mentally, making sure you're in the right place mentally. Because I mean, some people, they may not discuss, but mental health is becoming to be a big thing in the bodybuilding industry because you do get tired. There's a lot of things going on mentally. And just even after the shows, the you may not look like you did show day. And so you have to play with that, or you're gaining weight, and that's why I always tell people to have something alternative to do besides just bodybuilding. You know, get you a network of friends, get you people that aren't even bodybuilders and talk to them. Have somebody that you can confide in and talk to, because if you're at it alone, if you can go into a dark place.
Here we got one of our usual suspects, my man Jeremy, aka the Femme Physique fan, aka the Art of Female Muscle. He just came through. Thank you, brother, for coming through.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, George.
Hey.
I am so sorry. I am horrible with names.
Beverly. That's okay.
Beverly. Once it takes me forever to get a name, but once I get it, it's there forever.
No worries.
It just takes a while.
No worries.
Yeah, I understand, brother. As you know, a while back, one of our usual suspects, Mr. Big Keith Williams, just had surgery. He had some surgery on his back, and also had a shot with his knees. I was just talking before I started here. I was talking with his wife Tina. She's worried about it, but she understands that he's very, very motivated. He loves bodybuilding, but he has the luck of the draw to have the ex-NFL player, to have some assistance and insurance that helps him out. You know, covers most of his bills. Sometimes there's some things that it doesn't always cover, but it does. He has to take care. But a lot of bodybuilders don't have that. You know, unless you have a real job which you have benefits that takes care of you. But many bodybuilders, usually work as trainers and coaches unless they have their own business, and many of them don't think about that. Just in case something happens.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why when I talk to a lot of people now. In the beginning, I didn't know. I had people pull me to the side and say, hey, are you good, like financially? Do you have insurance? Do you got to get your blood checked? You got to go to the doctor if something gets injured? I said, oh, yeah, I have benefits. I said, good, because a lot of people don't think about that. You know, they see bodybuilding, they go, oh, I want to jump into it, but there's a cost to it. You're going to get, at some point, some kind of injury. I mean, it's just your body, you're doing more than what the average person does to achieve that look. So you have to take care of your body. If that means getting massages, going to chiropractors, getting everything checked out. So that's why, as we had discussed on one of the other shows, you got to count the cost before you really get into it, and make sure that that's what you want to do, because you want to jump into it and then something happens and then you're overloaded with all these medical bills that you can't pay until you hate the sport. You want to be in it for the longevity of it.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think a lot of people, not just in regards to the physical training and the potential for injury, but I think a lot of young people I think we all tend to do that. Mm-hmm. Is that we tend to like fantasize about what something is going to be like, rather than actually find out what the practical reality is like once you're in it. Exactly. It's like how many young people have I heard now that say, oh, I can't wait to get my contract. If you get a contract with a supplement company, there's no guarantee you're going to get that. Exactly. And then it's like so many other things that goes along with it, like something what we talked about here, post-show blues.
Yes.
A lot of competitors have no idea after their first show that when they feel that way, when the shreds start disappearing and they start getting dysmorphic and they start feeling this way, it's like, what is this? What's wrong? Why? Because nobody's told them.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's the same thing here financially. It's like, yeah, it's like when you're pushing yourself like that, well, just exactly like you say, Beverly, when you're pushing yourself beyond, because you're not, bodybuilders train, they don't tone.
Yes.
like most people go to the gym to tone. They train. They're there to push themselves as hard as they possibly can. You're exactly right. Eventually, you're going to get an injury. Mm-hmm. And injuries, especially like this, they're not cheap.
Exactly.
So it's like you have to have, but it's just the problem is that there's so much stereotyping when it comes to bodybuilders that it's difficult to find insurance. Because I've mentioned this before. Let's say that they did, in fact, let's say the IFBB and the NPC actually did try to get set up something for athletes or competitors with a insurance company. First thing they're going to ask is, okay, who is this for? Bodybuilders.
Mm-hmm.
Automatic stereotype. Steroid user.
Yeah.
Taking all manner of PEDs.
Yep.
Why? And so they'll flat out refuse. They'll say, why? Because is that possible? Sure. Doesn't guarantee it. Because I mean, you got now what, 7 categories?
Yes.
With the women, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're taking gear in every one, especially this new fit model division, where gear is not even necessary. But they won't think about that. The first thing they'll think of is bodybuilding, steroids, PEDs.
Exactly.
Why would we help people that, as far as they're concerned, are poisoning themselves?
Exactly.
So they'll flat out refuse it, even if they tried to do it. So again, I have hammered this home time and again. You want things to improve in bodybuilding, you're going to have to go against the programming that the mainstream media has given the public when it comes to it. You have to fight against that first. A lot of things will change for bodybuilding once that happens. But until it happens, they're stuck in more ways than one.
Unfortunately, and that's true, and people don't think about, you got baseball players that are taking PEDs, soccer players, any sport pretty much, but all they see is the physical of the bodybuilders. Oh, they got all these muscles. They got all of this. But then you got other sports that they do that, but they'll cover them. It, like you said, it's a stereotypes and lack of knowledge. And also, you got movie stars. They do things to get ready for roles. They don't pack on that type of muscle in 6 months to a year. So
right.
I mean, but it's lack of knowledge, people, and it's sad. And that's why I tell a lot of people when they ask me and my husband, I tell them, hey, I'm not a pro, but I have been in the industry for a while. And I know a lot of people in the industry. And I will tell you this, make sure that you financially are set up for whatever, and have an emergency fund. Don't just jump into it and you barely paying your bills. Because your bills get paid. You got to have a place to stay. Your lights got to be on. Don't just omit that because you think you're going to be turned pro in 6 months to a year. Because a lot of these younger people, they get into it. Oh, I'm going to be pro next year. Hey, you're going against people who've been in the industry maybe 10 or 20 years, and they're trying to get their pro card too. And they're going to have more muscle maturity. They're going to know the game. They're going to know what to do. And you're not going to have a clue depending on who your trainer is. They may not, school you on all of that. So, and that's the thing with the younger people, when they ask me and my husband, I'm just flat out honest with them and say, hey, get you a job, put your money back. If that's what you want to do, just like you shop for a car, interview trainers. Just don't jump on the first person that says, oh, I want to train you to get your pro card, because, hey, you got to know if you're willing to do whatever they're going to ask you to do. So it's a lot to it. And these younger people, I just, you really try to tell them, or guide them in the best thing. You don't discourage them, but you also try to be realistic with them.
Yeah, that's the thing is, it's so easy to pick on bodybuilding. Again, it was steroids issue, but as you mentioned, Bev, many other sports use steroids, but because it's so mainstream, there's so much money involved in it. Many of them don't need to get the stuff they need. They just say, hey, I'm healthy, but you never know what's going to happen. You remember when Lynn Baez died in the middle of a game. There's been baseball players that fell out, playing baseball or working out. Those people don't think that they can die, but you got to think about it. When you're taking, especially performance enhancers or any kind of chemical thing, it will affect you in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody didn't follow, just saw this afternoon, Michaela Aycock. If you have seen it, it is kind of sad news for her, because she just posted that she's dealing with some kind of injury. Don't know the details of it yet, but from what she's going through, it's something with her knees, and that's the thing with Hella, her knees. As Hella, and Michaela's really short.
Yes.
And, she puts on a lot of muscle. Crazy condition. and she's not even, I think she's just not even 40 yet. She got to be around about 33, 34. She's still a young woman.
Hmm.
But she posted this afternoon, and I'm going to share it with y'all, and I'm going to read a bit of it. It's a lot to it, so I'm going to read some of it here. He says, within the first week of 2025, my goals for the year quickly took a turn. I set into this year with all intentions and signs of being my best physique in every I've every put on stage. Okay, yeah. I had my sight set on a specific shows and bucket list goals leading into what might been as a surprise to you all. But myself and those closest to me have known I had in my mind in this uh, needing to be on my final year as a competitive bodybuilder. So she's planning on retiring, I think, after this year. I've wrestled with this for a while. I'm addicted to the work. And after all, I have spent my entire 20s pursuing it. And truly, I am just now hitting my stride and defying my short genetics odds with many more years to continue improving. But rather, it's just a life decision that seems best long term. Specific reasons I'm expand at a later time. Within the first week of this year, I had a freak scenario happen, and with one of my knees. Prior to this, training had been going perfectly, no aches, tweaks, twangs, or any sign of alignments. Uh, One day, I had therapy work done, and immediately following, had an odd, constant ache in my knee. Within 2 days, I was unable to bend or utilize my leg at all, since I had several scans and doctors. Let me see, he's gonna, and yeah, she's at a doctor's office. Being my use since I said right, and I had several scans and doctors um, to look at it, the situation, the answers, the problem, let alone a situation for it. Words like tumor, bone marrow, uh, abdominally, heterotopic, uh, tears, tendonitis, arthritis, etc., have been used. During all this time, I have been unable to train at all, and now gaining on 3 months after the onset of injury, I'm just now able to function with normal walking and daily activities. This still this is still an ongoing process with more scans, appointments, and potential surgeries to be had. If you know me at all, you know I am no stranger to major hurdles and challenges to overcome throughout my time in bodybuilding, and it is just a matter of working harder and longer. I'm the woman for the job full of can do power. However, this time is different. Whether final days of chapters in your life are by choice or by force, neither are an easy easy. Okay. No matter what my future looks like, it seems of the stage, terms of the stage, I will be the same Michaela, walking resistantly hard, passionately towards every pursuit of my life. Here we go, and there she is. All right, the stage will be okay, and if I compete, if competing on stage is done for me, the only thing that will change in my pursuit towards the stage itself, and all 100% dialed in, never miss a beat, detail for better or for worse, that requires me to be the best physique I can be. I'm still here to take part in the industry and do my part to give back and utilize the experiences I have gained over years to now help others. However, they want me to, from coaching, training others, and advice, all the way to sweeping backstage show. LOL. All along with gaining the time and resources of life to put back into myself now towards the passions and work I wanted to pursue outside of the fitness industry. And Michaela Hart. And that's some sad news. Michaela Edcock, I follow on social media. She's at orthopedics interest here. The older I get, the more I realize there aren't really an easy path. You either face difficult decisions now and recap to be a fits later, or to delay the decisions and face the consequences. Yeah, and that's tough for Michaela. She's been in the game for a long time. She's been a multiple time pro in both women's body and women's physique. She's been multiple time Olympic competitor, rising Phoenix competitor, top 5, top 10 competitor at these shows. I mean, and it's tough, especially being so young, and to realize that now you might have to go in another direction in your career.
Yeah, that's really sad. I haven't seen that, but that's sad. But at the end of the day, I would rather see her healthy. And, I think she's an asset in the community, and she may have to do something else. I know people, they enjoy being on the stage, but, I think at her level, she'd be an asset as oh, my brain is like out there. Someone that you can, go talk to and get advice from. So I wish her all the best. I hope everything does work out in her favor where she can do what she wants to do. I think she has a great physique. She really does. But, I'm like I tell my husband, and we tell each other, if it gets to the point where we don't do it anymore, you know what? It's better you be healthy in the long run and enjoy life, because at the end of the day, we're not getting paid for this. We're spending our money. It's a hobby. It is. We enjoy it, but your body and your mind and your spirit is more important for that to be healthy.
Yeah, because what, like I said, it's if you want to take time and go in and do something in another direction, one thing she could do is, like, Wings of Strength is already promoting bodybuilding. She'd be a great executive over there. Work with
Oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
work with Jake Wood. I mean, I gotta do it. Try to say his name. Yo Jake. I want that money. I want that gun. But if for us fans who love y'all ladies on the stage, it's kind of like a bittersweet to see y'all walk away from it. Like this,
Mhm.
like a couple weeks ago, we talked about how there's some ladies who would love to come back compete. Like people like Iris Kyle, Lena Popa, a couple of ladies. But I understand that you gotta live your life, and it's important for your longevity. Like I said, I think she has a boyfriend. They've been together for a while, and like I said, she's still young. Maybe she wants to take the time off and enjoy the life as maybe a wife or maybe a mother.
Oh, that's important too, because you would not believe the women I have met that have told me they regret not having kids and getting married. They got so caught up into this until time just passed them. And they were like, I've had one, and she was a pro. She said, I admire the fact that you got married and you did what you had to do and you took time out, because she said, I was so caught up. I wanted kids. She said, I was so caught up in the industry until time just got away from me and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So that's where that balance comes in too. You have to, you can have trainers and everybody around you rushing you. Oh, you got to do this show. You got to do that show. But at the end of the day, you have to sit and look in the mirror and go, okay, but when this is all over, where am I going to be? Who's going to be there? What am I going to have?
Jeremy?
Right. I mean, no. I mean, as a fan of this, I mean, I like it. I mean, I like especially women's bodybuilding and on down. But at the same time, it's like I hear of stories like this. So I hear about people getting injured. I hear about how PEDs have, in fact, ruined some women's lives, and because they did it wrong, or they took the wrong stuff, they took the wrong amount, what have you. But and it's like I look at this, it's like, yeah, it's neat with the competitions and all, but it's not worth your life.
Mm-mm.
It's simply not. I
Mm-mm.
mean, what are you in fact getting at the end of the day? Let's say that you win the thing. Let's say you win the Miss Olympia. Okay. I mean, maybe you're going to get a supplement contract. Maybe you're going to get in involved with some things like that. But I mean, is all of that worse? Seriously screwing up your body to the point where you seriously screw yourself up. It's like I'm trying to remember the name of the girl. She's only like 30 years old. Her coach had her on such an absolutely ridiculous PED protocol that she screwed her body up to the point where she had to have open heart surgery at 30. So it's like,
That's why that goes back
yeah.
to you gotta do your homework on
Right.
training. If the trainers are coming to you with stuff and you gotta question it, something in the back of your head is saying this isn't right, then you need to follow your gut. Yeah, you might be looking at somebody that, oh, they look great on stage or they got their pro card in 6 months to a year. But at the same time, everybody's body's different. Genetically, people are different. If you are not comfortable with that, you need to let them know I'm not comfortable with that. But some people, they want that instant gratification so quickly, they don't understand the long-term effects of that. You know, how it messes you up. And so, like I said, I talked to a lady. She told me, you know what? I never got married, never had kids. One day I stopped competing. I looked in the mirror and said, I have nothing. This is it. I'm done competing. I've done everything. So you have to be balanced with it. That's why I think it's so important to have people that you can talk to in the industry so they can kind of keep you balanced and go, hey, you might need to take 6 months off. You might need to take a year off. Get yourself together. You may not need to do a show this season. Do a show next season. There's always going to be shows. That's what I was told by my trainer. There's always going to be shows. Your family is more important. Your health is more important. So don't sidestep that for something that you'll never maybe get your pro card or you maybe never get a supplemental contract. Keep that in mind. Even though I love the sport and enjoy it, you still have to be balanced.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, we have a comment here from a man, Balls Deep. He's coming through, always supporting. It says, "What up and salute." Thank you, brother. He also says, he says, "Smash the like button." I appreciate that. His other moniker, Chicago in here. All right, and his other one, Schmo Gang. So yeah, because it's important to like. I know some ladies who walked away from sport. Like one lady happened out here before, Melanie Horton. Melanie competed in a good part of the '90s. Went to her first Miss Olympia back in '99, and after that, she stepped away from it. She has two kids, both of them now in college, and she's almost 60, and she came back. Was it about I think 4 or 5 years ago? She competed at the Auto Classic. This show was here. She mass competed at the. She did both the Vancouver Island show and did uh the Toronto Pro. She's from Canada, and she she for a while I didn't hear much from her, but she was in the hospital because she had got some very bad abdominal pain, and she was there for about a week or two, and she recovered nicely. I mean, especially for a woman of her age. So, like think about it, when you're younger, you get hurt. Hey, you bounce back the next day, you be all right. But now you get to this point where I'm 50. I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I got pacemaker in my chest, and there's days where I don't move like I used to, especially I got a lot of weight. But I think anybody who gets into sport should always consider what are they going to sacrifice for, especially for a woman. Like,
Yes.
yeah, think about it. Yeah, if you take, especially if you're heavy on PEDs and say, I want to have babies, then everything, your whole chemical balance is off. You don't have, um, you know, um, periods anymore, and then you're just the DNA. Some say because of the heavy use of it is almost male, and
Yeah, that's another thing. You may not have the money to fix certain things that happen to your face. You have to factor all that in, and then when you stop competing, you decide, oh, I want to meet a husband. Well, okay, unless you meet somebody in the industry, somebody average Joe is gonna be like, so you have to sit down and go, you have to count the cost. What am I willing to sacrifice? Am I willing to sacrifice? If I want to get married, do I want to sacrifice getting married? If I want to have kids, do I want to sacrifice having kids? My family time, missing holidays, things like that. You have to take all that into consideration. Your health, You have to take all of that into consideration. Train smart, you know. So that's why, like I said before, I try to, when people mention, you know, I don't discourage them. I say, oh, that's a great goal to have, but I want you to really think about know your why. And that was what I was told when I got into it. My trainer said, hey, know your why. Why are you wanting to do this? Why do you want to become a bodybuilder? And also, don't jump into it thinking you're going to just be a pro in 6 months, 2 years. Yeah, some people do that, but you got to factor in where are those people now? Those people that you knew that did it in 6 months to a year, they had to take time off for certain reasons. So you have to really factor that in. You have to know what you're doing. You know, like I said, you have to really almost interview your coaches and see what they're all about. You know, are they just going to push you a bunch of drugs, or they're going to get your training, your meals down, and your workouts down? Because a lot of it is your food. You have to eat smart. You know, some people can go eat pizzas all day. I can't do it. My husband's a carb person. He can eat carbs all day and still be lean. I eat carbs. I'm gonna gain 20 pounds in a week. So you have to factor genetics, all of that in. So, you know, I love the sport I do. I love bodybuilding. But I know one day I won't be doing it. And that's what you have to tell people. You're not going to do this forever. You're not. There's always going to be somebody new and younger coming up. Just look at the history of bodybuilding. Look at the history. Ronnie Coleman was king, 8-time Olympian. He's still out there and he's still doing his thing, but he's no longer competing. So you have to show them those examples. You won't be on stage all the time. You have to figure out what you want to do. He was one of the few that got all the supplements and all the contracts. Everybody's not going to get that. So you got to be smart about what you're doing.
Yeah, a good example is Flex Wheeler. He was dealing with some medical issue. He lost the leg.
Yes.
You know, one lady who I was in contact with Melissa Coates, and she already had issues, and then she lost a leg, and she later on she passed away. Some say because there's an issue, whatever medical issue was affecting her, that might have been attributed to it. You can't always say steroids. Maybe just some people just have issues that are genetic.
Diabetes, things pop up. Yeah, they have health issues that pop up, and you know, just different things. And then I know my first coach that I was with, he was back in the 80s and 90s. He told me back then a lot of people, sometimes not everybody, they did recreational drugs. So it's just not PEDs. Some people are on recreational drugs, which we know those are cocaine, meth, and all of that. And people blame the PEDs, but it's not that. It's that other stuff. So, you know, he said people had heart attacks. It wasn't that. It was the cocaine that did it, you know. So you just have to be smart about it. You have to know when to draw the line and say, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'll train harder and longer than the next person if that's what it takes. But you have to make up your mind. But, you know, some of these younger people, they're so influenced by what they see. And I tell them all the time, do your background knowledge. Make sure you're talking to people that's been in the game for a while. Know the good, the bad, and the ugly about it.
Yeah. I remember this comedian made a joke one time. What do you get when you cross LSD with birth control?
What?
A trip without the kids.
Oh. Oh my God.
That was crazy. That's funny. Here we got a comment from my man. I think it's to you, Bev. He says, why she want to be a female bodybuilder?
Why do I want to be one? You know what? To be honest with you, I've always wanted to be a bodybuilder, even when I was in high school. I just, you know, money and life took me in a different direction. But then when I got to the point where I could financially do it, I didn't want to. I could have done it, you know, in my early 20s, but I didn't have the money then. I was trying to work and pay bills and, you know, be able to pay a department note and all of that. But when I got to the point where I could financially hire a trainer, a good trainer, get my food in, you know, get the gym membership, do the workouts. That's when I said, okay, now I'm at a point where I can do it. Because I wanted to do it for years. I just didn't have the funds to do it. And I didn't want to do it halfway. I didn't want to, okay, I can go to the gym and try to do it on my own, because you have to be kind of guided into it. People have to look at you and say, you know, this needs to be worked on, that needs to be worked on. But yeah, I've always wanted to do it. Ever since I was in high school, I remember looking at, you know, magazines and seeing all the women that were like, you know, back then. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. But, you know, I knew back then financially I couldn't do it. So I waited until I could do it.
Yeah. Here we got a guest. He's the reason for this. My man, Big Keith Williams. My dear brother Lucy.
Hey Keith, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hey.
How are you feeling?
I'm good, man. It's first day back at the gym. Felt pretty good. So
Oh, good,
10
good.
toes down, 6 feet up. Still grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cold. It's cold in these parts of the world right now. Shit.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
cold here too.
Yeah.
Trust
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
We're supposed to get like
Just
11 to 15 inches of snow tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
just posted. I was just did a thing this afternoon where I talked about this lady I follow. Her name is Tracy Jones. They had a
Yeah.
big bad flood in Kentucky.
Oh
And she
no.
mentioned that it's going to be nasty around about that time. It's funny thing about that is I know y'all get too political, but a certain dumbass is at the Daytona 500 instead of being in his office trying to take care of the American people. But fuck him. But yeah, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, and
brother.
it's the sad thing about that is that it's her whole town.
Yeah.
It's her
Oh,
entire town,
oh,
not just her, but it's so many people. And I wrote her, I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and just please be careful and take care of you and yours."
yeah.
So it's like, I mean, she showed pictures. It's like the whole town is underwater.
Oh, my
Wow.
God.
The whole town is underwater.
That's
think it's
So-
crazy.
Because Kentucky's not that far from the Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured probably that every year when the Mississippi runs over, especially
I
there's a lot
love
of
that you have
waves.
a female on the show. Excellent.
Yeah, we
Yes.
got to our female. I'm usually tired with y'all hard legs all the time. So we got a woman. So we got
That's
woman.
Yeah, I may be on here another 5 or 10 minutes because I got to go get my back worked on.
yeah.
I feel the same.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
one of my friends. She's actually a massage therapist, so she's gonna go in and elbow me real good because I'm got this kink going on. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. That's one thing I think is important, especially when you're athletes, because you do need those things like massages, because the muscles and also detail the joints. I mean, like I said, I was studying massage therapy when I was a few years ago. I wish I finished it, but my car broke down on me. But that's important. Like with you, Keith, you had surgery. Explain your surgery and what was going on.
Well, I had a back ablation. So, I had my L4, L5 back fusion about a year and a half ago. And my SI joints has been bothering me. So they went in and did some injections. And those probably lasted me about good 6 or 8 weeks. But then the pain started coming back again. So he said the only thing we could do with the back ablation is that they burn the nerve so that you don't feel that anymore. And because it's not around tissue, it'll last me probably about a year or two. But when I was telling somebody, I said, thank God I have good insurance, because when I was signing the paperwork before I went in on Monday, that was an $8,000 procedure for
Oh my
45 minutes.
god.
Yeah. So, and I paid $84. I think that was out of my out-of-pocket expense, but, thank God for the NFLPA, for good insurance. But
Yeah.
then I had a UI flexion injections in my knees on Thursday after that. And so what it is they do these injections in your knees, and it kind of fills them up with this kind of gel so that you lose some of the discomfort in your knees. They're better than the other injections that they put in you. Huh?
Get on scope, because I know I had those injections before. They put in my,
so these UI injections the flex injections are better than getting the cortisol injections, because those things last a shorter period of time. But again, when I looked at when you're signing the papers and you're filling all this stuff, you're like, well, I wonder how much this stuff costs. Each injection, and I had one Thursday, I have one this Thursday, are $1,400 a piece.
Oh my god.
So
yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
I remember when the last time my doctor used to give it to me in his office, and then one time give me a prescription. I can only get one vial, and I'm on Medicaid, and that one vial cost me about $80.
Yeah.
It said enough I said I couldn't get it all of, so I just got the one, and he gave me shot in my knee that I needed. But we have here. This is your boyfriend, Keith. He been looking for you all the week. He says, "I mean, Raheem Hamilton." He says, "Keith Williams is back." Oh, Raheem, he misses Keithy.
Hey, I was literally out all day Monday because I had my back ablation at 1:30, and then I was in recovery for 3 hours. I woke like you're kind of up, but you're not up. So like they kind of give you amnesia, and I didn't even, I was up for part of it, and then I don't remember anything else after that. But so the back's doing good though. So
Good.
uh, I heard today, that Michaela announced her retirement.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
yet. Not yet. She
Not
said
officially yet.
she's looking. She's acknowledging the possibility, but I don't think
Yeah.
she's actually fully signed off on it yet.
So
So
Tina tells
Yeah.
her, she goes, "I wish my husband would take your advice." And I'm like, "Yeah, It's not that easy for me. I'm not. I say, I have good insurance, and I figure maybe this year or next year I'll retire. Now, I honestly can accept that, because my journey has been fun. But it's time for me to help other people at this point in time. But at the end of the day, it's a great sport, but I'm not willing to be a Ronnie Coleman. As great as he is, I can't imagine being as great as he was and being in the condition that he is now. I'd fucking, excuse my language, I'd fucking go nuts. Being in a wheelchair, being bigger than life, and and the crazy thing about Ronnie when I say that is he's like, I would do it all over again. Ain't no way. He has kids and all this stuff. I just coached my daughter's 10U basketball team last night. We coach softball. It's no way that I can't be the dad. My son plays college basketball. My other son plays pro baseball. It's no way that I can be hobbling around trying to
Yeah.
go to these events. No way.
See,
And you
It's
that's
have
what
a
nothing.
that goes
It's,
back to what what I
I
was
live for them now.
exactly.
I live for them now. It's not about me.
Yeah.
So the point where I know that it's like, okay, I can't do the things that I want to do, and it's hurting me and it's hurting my family. I know it's time for me to step back.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, he accomplished great things. There will never be another Ronnie Coleman in life, but again, at the end of the day, if I was to ask myself the question, would I rather be in his situation then and now? No way, no.
Yeah. So,
Because God put me on this earth for bigger purposes than myself, you know. And there's no way. I mean, I can't imagine mentally, what he goes through every day, looking at these videos, seeing how bigger than life he was to the world, not just to body, just the world, and to be where he's at now. I mean, fuck. I mean, I can't imagine how kind of depressing that would be. As much as you accomplish, it's like if you look at Kevin and Flex and Dorian and all those guys, they said the same thing. They pushed it, and the Flex ain't got a leg. Flex was so and had to put him in a coma. But a lot of these guys was like, it's no way that I would ever do that to myself because, you know, if there's other things to live for. And Dorian Yates, I listened to him a lot, and I seen him on the horses. I seen him doing different things. He goes, there's a lot more to what we do than just competing in the sport, and that's what I have to. That's what I live by now. When my body says enough is enough, then I'll be done. And I know that's coming. I know that's coming here soon.
that's what we were talking about because, and the thing of it is, it's funny because men recognize it, I think, a little bit more than the women do.
Yeah.
Because the women, that's why when I got into it, my trainer, he used to work out with like Ronnie and all of them, Kelly Hitchcock. And he told me flat out, he said, listen, you're going to want a life outside of this. You get married, do whatever you want to do, because eventually you're not going to be on stage.
Yeah.
You have to have something outside of bodybuilding. Eventually your body's going to tell you enough's enough.
Yeah.
And men, y'all tend to like go get married and do all that. But the women, there's so many women that are even pros. They have told me they regret not getting married. They regret not having kids. They regret not buying a home. And I'm looking going, what happened in that time of you doing shows to now that you decided not to step away from that to accomplish those things?
Well, and that's the thing. Like Sid Gilman, I think she's at a point, and she probably could have still keep winning. She could have still, like, she probably could have won 10 Olympians, if not more. But I think she understood. She accomplished her goal. She is still healthy. She wants kids. She wants a family, and so I think she walked away on her own recognizance. So did Chris Bumstead. I think he was like, I have a kid. There's other things to live for. So some people come to that actualization and realization that, hey, you know what? I accomplished what I needed to. I'm in a good financial place. It's a good time for me to walk away. And then there's others who, like Ronnie, I love Ronnie. I respect him. He's the best. He's the GOAT of bodybuilding.
Yes.
But again, at the end of the day, I don't think he had those people in his corner saying, trying
Hey.
to, trying to do this and trying to do that is just too much.
Yeah.
And so, and I remember the last Olympia I seen Ronnie, he was coming around in a wheelchair, and we were at the Wings of Strength booth in Orlando, and I was just looking at him, and I'm like, man, this guy who we all looked at is bigger than life, and he's still bigger than life because he's still alive, he's still a human being, but to see him in such a fragile state, it was like, man, I just, I was on bed rest for almost 2 years after my car accident, and I know how I felt. So I can't imagine how he feels rolling around in that wheelchair, and maybe I'm being presumptuous, maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's in a good mental place, But I know who I am, and I know how competitive I am. I'd be like, I did this to myself.
Yeah.
And when I realized, that it's a bad place for me, it's a bad place for my daughter, my wife, my children, I got to walk away and just be done.
Yeah. I'm thinking about somebody who really kind of, I think for America that we broke their heart was Christopher Reeves, Superman.
Yeah.
To see him one day, this tall man, this hero, everybody, like I would say one of the greatest Supermen of all time. You put him up there, you got Christopher Reeves, you got George Reeves, you got Henry Cavill. Those I would say are the three best Supermen if you look at it. Because George was the first one with the TV show, and Christopher came along with the movies, and Henry was the last one that I think people really liked. It's hard to see your heroes. Like I'm looking at guys like Arnold and Stallone getting older now, and you look at guys like Ronnie Coleman, you look at all of this. Some who are smart enough to walk away from the sport, like good example, Julie Carney. She left and she now has a daughter. Kim Zavetsky, she did go back and forth, and now she has her two kids, and boys that are growing strong, and then the others who just really, like I remember I was somewhere I read that Linda Murray wanted to have kids, but some stuff happened, and I think she had that's why she, after that last Olympia when she lost to the second time to Kim Zavetsky, she wanted to live her life and do that, have kids, but then that didn't happen. And then she one time was trying to be a wrestler, and then whatever, that didn't work out. And then she came back, competed a couple more 2 years, and then she said, you know what, I did what I wanted to did 3 more Olympias, won 2 of them, and now she's doing stuff like the Wings of Strength, and also she's doing her shows, the Atlanta Pro, and she's doing a lot of stuff. But yeah, it's pretty. That's the thing about your life. You have to make those choices that you really gonna step back and really focus on who you want to be. You got here for a comment from my man, Raheem Hamilton says, if Ronnie could get a do-over, I bet he wouldn't do it again.
He said he would, though. He said he would add even more weight. That's crazy.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But here's another one comment. Got one more comment from Raheem for he says, don't forget Dean King. He was a great. I ain't like Dean King that much.
Hey y'all, I hate to leave. I'm gonna have to leave because she just texted me, said, "Are you on your way to get your back work?"
That's all right.
Good talking to y'all, and next time I'll be on longer.
Yeah, appreciate it, Bev. Appreciate it. Thank you for everything. Bye. Folks, now it's just us hard legs now. So no heels. Just us hard legs. So, but yeah, going back to that, every athlete, and I've said this before, I remember the story. I told this the other day when I was talking to, and this is how it is. There was a social scientist that said like this. He did a test. He tested athletes, Olympic level athletes, and said, if you had a choice and we give you this pill, and it can make you jump higher, go faster, run faster. You can win, medals and set records. Would you take it? But here's the catch: if you take the pill, you'll lose 5 years of your life. Meaning that at one point, boom, you're going to die in another 5 years. And most of them say yes because they want to make those goals. And so it's so important to make goals, but not think about what's going to be your life after that. Like, I've seen fighters keep fighting till they're almost brain dead. And that's the thing is, it's like that's all they know. And then the smart ones say, you know what? I made my money. I did pretty good. Like, good example, Floyd Mayweather. He made his money, did pretty good. He does it every now and then. You might see him do some fighting tournaments or something like that, or just some charity stuff. But generally, most athletes, it's hard for them to walk away. They don't think about the future, like, and things like, if you need medical insurance, if you need health insurance, life insurance, things that most of us people who are out there in the real world, like when I had a job, my job, I had health insurance. My last job I worked at, when I had my heart attack at work, I thought it was a cold, but it was a heart attack. I went to my sister. She lives the next town over because it'd been like I would have to go another six some miles to go back home. But my sister lived like like another 20, 30 some miles in next to town over in Fayetteville. Went to her. I said I just had a little cold. I was feeling well. I left work, so she told me go to the hospital. So I went to around the corner, urgent care. They told me while I was there, they took my blood, says, Miss McCarthy, we found something in your blood. We can't treat you here, so we're going to send you to Cape Fear Valley, which is the biggest hospital next to UNC, especially in my area. I was there in a cardiac unit for about a week. They had me hooked up, me monitor to me, and then I went to see a specialist in UNC, and this is where I knew it was serious. The specialist he was a British cat. He says, Miss McCarthy, your fraction rate's under 12%. So we must, have you commit surgery immediately. So it wasn't no more than a week later. I had my surgery, had this for a partner after the last 10 years. And it was a good thing that my insurance covered that. And even when I was out of work, a month later, I got a little check that's a couple $1,000 that helped with some bills and stuff I was behind. And then I went back to work, and then I quit my job, and then my mom got sick to take care of her. But yeah, it's a test for anybody. It's that most important in life. Here we got a man, KL the Wanderer. We on last night chopping it up. My man, KL.
What's going on?
What up?
Hey, what's going on? He also dealt with the past with some medical issues, and that's especially for us Black people. Our genetics are very different compared to other minorities because we are higher chances for high blood pressure and cholesterol. Even depending on what you eat, if you eat the right foods, it can lower it down. But sometimes it's just genetics.
A good quote that I heard listening to Travis Kelsey and Jason Kelsey last week, 58-minute podcast. And I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts, but at the end of the day, when it comes to our sport, and when I played in the NFL, I was making way more money than I do in bodybuilding. Let's put it that way, way more money. And Jason was talking to his brother about how, he was torn, because he was an Eagle. He had his brother was playing for the Chiefs. And at the end of the day, like Travis ended up saying, he goes, it's just football. It's just a game. And that's what people understand. It's just bodybuilding. And at the end of the day, taking it too serious and all the things that people were doing, like, I've seen people in Philly like burning like Kermit the Frog flags because Patrick Mahomes has a fucking, it's like we live in a society that's what the fuck we're doing now. Not one time would you see a Kansas City Chiefs do some shit like that, no matter who they play. And I'm like, it's not that serious. But the whole moral of the story was, at the end of the day, it's just a game. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars playing football for many, many years, but it's just a game. And it's like bodybuilding. A lot of people will never see the fruits of their labor in this sport. So again, at the end of the day, for one, you have to invest in yourself. And I know me and George were the dialogue before, the show even came on, we're saying, well, not everybody has the insurance. But, I think at some point in time, talking to my buddy who's insurance, everybody has the opportunity to get insurance, and in the United States, you have to have it. Like they make sure that you have it because, you would get in trouble if you don't have health insurance because health.gov and all these different companies now that, people who low income, and a lot of these bodybuilders are not living very well. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're living like everyday, they're living like everyday people because, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So at the end of the day, there are opportunities for them to get health insurance at some facet without having to do a background check or a screening check of like what's your health and all this other bullshit and all this other things. But I just don't think that they're taking advantage of it. and that's what you have to do. That's why we live in the great country that we live in, where everybody can get. I know people who have health insurance that's paying like $84 a month, 30 something bucks a month, who have great benefits. But again, it's up to us as people to take advantage of those opportunities. And when you don't, like, I've seen Hella's where she was in Switzerland getting knee surgeries, and yet you want to sit there and put on this GoFundMe for, here's the thing. You've made a lot of money in this sport compared to a lot of other people in this sport. So for you to not have health insurance and got your fucking hand out, fuck off. No offense at all. Fuck off. Seriously. And I'll tell her that. Fuck off. Because you've made a lot of money in this sport. As many years as you competed in the sport, the world championships that you won, the vehicles that you won, the top finishes in the Olympia, and you're telling me you don't have fucking health insurance and you got your hand out? Fuck off. Seriously.
We're
I know you do well as a trainer, so I don't give a shit what people say. When it comes to that, it's like, really, come on.
Well, brother, I'm passionate about it. I did post her GoFundMe link because I am a fan of hers.
Here's the thing, though. So you're telling me at the end of the day, she's placed in the top. How many Olympias has Helena done? How many has she done?
Since at least about, I would say, 4 to 5.
4 to 5, and she's placed in the top 5 in all those. Correct?
No, not her first one. I don't think she was top 5. I think, Jeremy, you might correct me. I think she was in top 5 in that first Olympia. That was I think it was 2004.
Not sure.
So how many world championships she won? She won 2, right?
2.
You can't Google.
She won 2 world championships. That's $100,000 right there. She won 2 vehicles over probably $100,000 for those 2 vehicles. I know she sold one or whatever case may be. I know she coaches, and she has to make, pretty good money coaching because coaches like her ain't cheap. I know fucking Alina, we paid her the first year with Tina, we paid her 5 racks. 5 racks.
Damn.
For her not to place where she was placing with Melanie, which is way less than that. So at the end of the day, and I know she, I guess I was just telling somebody this, I guess people call them schmoes or whatever, schmoes sending the money or they're doing their pages and all this other shit. She has to be making decent money. So to go and put out a GoFundMe for me to sit here and sit here, that's like me sitting here saying, oh, well, I'm retired from NFL. Come on now. Come on, George. Let's be honest. It's like, come on. Insurance that if I don't know what she claims as citizenship, for one. I don't know, what she claimed as citizenship. But because she was in Dubai for a minute, that ain't fucking cheap. Then now she's in Switzerland. I think her first surgery, she was in Mexico, right? When she did her shoulder surgery. That shit's not cheap. So at the end of the day, it's like, where are you getting this money to travel abroad and all this other stuff for you to sit here and ask you or Jeremy or Kale to sit here and send you fucking money so that you can pay for your medical expenses? No offense, fuck off. Seriously, fuck off.
Well,
I'm gonna tell you that right now. But I tell her, I'm like, fucking kick rocks. I ain't giving you shit because you've done well in this sport. You've done well in this sport. You got things going on that my wife doesn't, and we got, and due to the fruits of my labor, we have great insurance. But again, at the end of the day, come on now, let's come on.
It's no big brother. I am the impure bodybuilder. I feel female bodybuilding. I feel compassion for my subjects. I even feel compassion for you because I know a while back I sent you something when the last time you went through something, and just because my heart goes out to you anytime something happens.
Yeah, and I get that. I understand that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, we understand, that it's hard for anybody. And she might have, like, I know she's been sponsored before by Wings to Strength was sponsored her. She was sponsored by Glenn, Glenn at Amazon Fitness Magazine. He sponsored her. She's been sponsored by Eunice at Bad Rap. But, sometimes some things happen and, maybe I did. It doesn't hurt to be a passion for somebody. It never hurts to help.
Here's the thing. And I show compassion for people. But at the exact same time, I've lived in this sport with my wife and with you and with the guys on the show for years now since my wife's been a pro. And at the end of the day, what I've come to, the realization I come to is, no offense, that a lot of these girls are just fucking lazy. They're just lazy. They don't do enough for themselves. And we've been talking about this since I've known you, George, about how can they make more money? How can they do this? How can they do that? Well, at the end of the day, my wife still runs our bar. She still works, she's upstairs sleeping now. She's exhausted. We got employees that come into our bar like, oh, I don't feel well. I'm like, huh, really? Well, Tina's been sick for fucking 2 weeks, and guess what? She's still at the bar. She's still doing her fucking job. Because in our society, people are just, and it's not even about it. Our society is just fucking lazy. They're just lazy. They don't know the definition of working hard at shit. And that's the problem. I see these people sitting on the corner when I cross my bridge with a sign. I go, well, here's the thing. McDonald's is hiring people right now at $17 an hour plus benefits. If your ass has a capability of writing that sign saying, oh, any spare change, you have the capability of taking your ass to McDonald's and filling out a goddamn application.
But here's how with McDonald's.
It's not always easy
Yeah.
to get a McDonald's job now. With it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep
If you
it
have
real.
a felony, if you have a felony, they're not going to hire you.
Well, I understand that. But, come on. Now, here's the thing.
McDonald's?
I own a business.
McDonald's?
And I got lazy ass employees.
Well, I don't know about that.
It's been fucking terrible. I own a business. I'm an owner. And I understand. I got people who are just absolutely lazy. And it's, and that's just the world that we live in. Let's call it what it is. There's a lot of jobs out there. I see so many jobs. You can work. Here's the thing. I just talked to my buddy who's in loss prevention at Walmart. The guy, when you walk in Walmart that greets you, how much money he makes? $15 an hour to say hello. $15. How hard is that job? And these are like the guy who, when I walk in, at one door is a guy who has to be 3 bills plus, sitting his ass on the bench. He'll stand up every now and then, but he's making $15 an hour. So what I'm saying is that we live in a society that these handout bullshit and all this other stuff there. And guess what? If I can get benefits, if I can make $15 an hour sitting on my ass or whatever, or just greeting somebody and saying hello and get benefits, I'm doing it because it helps me, it helps my family, it helps, it helps the world be better. And that's the problem. I'm not trying to diss Helena, and I'm not trying to diss anybody at this point in time, but I'm sitting there saying, come on. You've done well enough for yourself in this world that I can't fucking fly to Dubai. I can't go hang out in Dubai and work out. I'm in goddamn Kansas, and I got money. I ain't in Switzerland getting surgery. I'm in the United States. I'm not in Mexico getting surgery. I'm in the United States. It may be cheaper over there. I don't know. The last time I looked at stem cell research to get done on my knees, the guy was like, well, if you got 25 racks, I got 25 racks. I said, but is it guaranteed? Is it not guaranteed? Fuck no. Then I'm not giving you $25,000 of my money to fly me over, to put me up in a hotel to do stem cell research that's not guaranteed. Sorry. It's called a bad investment. So if you're able to do all these things, come on now. Come on, guys. Let's be honest. Jeremy, can you fly to Dubai right now?
No.
Can you fly to Switzerland right now?
Nope.
Can you go to Mexico right now?
Nope.
But she's over in all these different countries doing all this shit, training all these people, doing all this other stuff with your hand out. Come on, let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
Well, let's be totally fair here. You say you're not dissing her, but at the same time you said fuck her. So
I wouldn't mind.
it's a little hard to synthesize those two.
Well, I would say fuck that. I would say fuck her. I'd say fuck that.
Yeah.
So let me recant my statement.
Okay. All right. But it's just my take on it is just that, and I've had this. I know other people very much disagree with the whole GoFundMe or crowdfunding thing. And the way I see it is that people work very hard for their money, and they're free to do with their hard-earned money whatever they wish.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if she decides to do that, and people decide to contribute, hey, more power to them.
Are you sending her money?
That's just the way. I don't have the money to send her, but I have given. But hold on, I have given her donations in the past.
Yeah.
I have done so, not through a GoFundMe, but I mean, she had a PayPal account and such like that. So I mean, if people want to help her financially, she's free to ask and they're free to give.
Absolutely.
That's the way. That's the way.
That's
So
true.
I mean, so she's free to put it up,
Makes
just like
sense.
people are free to help her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Makes
I know,
sense.
I know this is I know this is a controversial issue
Yeah.
because I've heard other people trash GoFundMe accounts for the same reason. And I mean, but I know people who not only do they have a business and they do OnlyFans and they have a GoFundMe. And the reason why they do that, they're maximizing all potential revenue streams,
Yep.
which
It's
makes
a hustle.
sense.
It's
Which
a
makes
hustle.
which makes
It-
sense. So they
it-
work hard. They work hard, but at the same time, they still take advantage of that because they want to maximize all potential revenue streams. That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, and here,
So,
my channel, I have a PayPal, I have a GoFundMe because I can't, the thing to get monetized with YouTube, you have to pay them to monetize you.
Yeah.
So, and you have to hope that you get some, commercial ads and stuff like that to add to it, but you have to pay them to get that. I can't afford
yeah,
it.
but then if you monetize, you're their bitch.
Here,
You're
here's,
you're their employee.
That's a good point.
They're gonna treat you like an employee.
here,
And if you
Yeah.
don't follow their rules to the letter, they'll
Yeah, they gonna
strike you until you're
demonetize you.
gone. They'll strike
Yeah.
you till you're gone.
here's
Yeah.
my thing,
So
guys. I've been on my own since I was 12. I've been homeless since I was 12. I've all the work I've done has been on my back. My mom was a drug addict. I was homeless. I lived with 4 different families in high school. And my way out when I got to high school and understood that I was a hell of an athlete, and that was my way out. My grandmother said this, and it may sound racist as a motherfucker, but I'm gonna say it. She said, "If a white man's gonna use you for your athletic ability, you damn sure better use him for education." And that's what I did.
That's fair.
Got my bachelor of science, got my master's degree, and the rest is history. Then I used my athletic endeavors to do the things that I'm doing now. Never had my hand out. It was a hustle. I had to bust my ass selling newspapers at the LA Coliseums, putting people's baskets in the grocery store, all these other things till I got to high school, then found out that I had a hell of a good surrounding around me of my coaches who understood that I could benefit them and they could benefit me, and it benefited everybody in the long run. But at the end of the day, it was on my own back and on my own shoulders that I had to take advantage, because there's a lot of guys where I came from who, statistically wise, me being a black man where I'm at, statistically wise, I should be dead or in jail because of where I grew up. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, Compton, and went to high school in San Diego, and got in a gang and all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, I had to make decisions in my life to be where I'm at now. And that's all I'm saying, is that I'm never going to have my hand out to anybody, ask anybody for shit. Because at the end of the day, what it boils down to is, what am I willing to do for myself? What am I willing to do for my family to get to where I'm at? Because the day I got to put my hand out and ask somebody for something, I'm like, well, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong in my life to have to do this? And we're talking about a very accomplished and successful athlete. I respect Helena. She is the fucking bomb. And I understand that I remember going to Flex Wheeler's house one day. And I remember when me and my brother Stan was training out. And I remember going to his house in his living room. He had five Arnold trophies. Well, each one of those trophies were no less than $100,000. And I'm like, man, that's just a lot. And that's just the Arnold. That's not all the Olympiads he competed in and all the shows overseas. So that was a lot of damn money. So I'm sitting there saying that, and I know that's men, but at the end of the day, it's, 60. Do you understand that 60% of NFL athletes at the end of their career have nothing? Nothing.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at that at all, because probably because of mismanagement and thinking and spending beyond their means. I wouldn't be surprised at that at all.
And that's the thing that I'm saying. It's like, I respect Helena. Helena's a wonderful person, but I'm just like, it's like, you can have insurance, that you don't, everybody can have insurance in the world that we live in. But again, like I said, the question is, what is her citizenship? Is she, I don't know. That, I guess that would be the main question. Like, is she United States citizenship? Because she, she travels abroad. Because I can't, where is she from?
She's from
Denmark.
So, I mean, how is she a Denmark citizen? Is she now a U.S. citizen because she was in the United States for so long?
Well, I think, her last name was Nielsen, and then she came Trevino. So I think she was married. I don't know if they hadn't been together for a long time, or because she still carries that last name Trevino. She might have got married to get citizenship. It does. That's one way you used to get it, but now you have to really get full citizenship. You have to apply and take the test. I know a couple of ladies who've done it recently, and it takes a long time. Sometimes you have to wait a full 2 or 3 years for you able to take the test, even after you do get married. And that could be one way. And the thing is that
in the United States for a long time, hasn't she?
yeah, because she lived in around
Live in
about
LA,
Venice Beach
right?
there. Yeah, Venice
Oh,
Beach around there for a long time. And then remember when she posted she was moving to Dubai. She was working with Nasir that time, and now she's working with the same coach that's working with Julia Wetzel and Sherry Piami.
Yeah, but again, the question I have, I'm like, I mean, I guess it's like an NFL player. It's like you get this money, and I know there's taxes. I know, like, because I remember reading something like one of her cars, the taxes were so high in California that she just sold it. I think it was the
The
Hellcat or
Hellcat.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it was the Hellcat.
because I mean, because what it's like, it was crazy because remember when Oprah used to have her show and like during Christmas she'd give away all those cars to the people, but
Yeah,
what they weren't realizing that they had to
they
pay the
they had to
sales
pay
tax.
taxes.
Huh?
Those cars, you got to pay taxes.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
my sister, my sister gave me her car, and the taxes. I know I'm a little behind the taxes because it's still in the shop. And I said I'm not going to pay taxes on the car if I don't. I should have been paying them early, but I said if I can't drive around, what's the point in me getting it? But yeah, her the car she gave me was a '97, and the tax is not that high. Maybe now they're a little behind. It might be like $100, something like that. But when you get these other high performance cars, even back then, taxes would be a couple $100, and
Well,
you got
she,
to
I
think about
mean,
it.
but we're talking about Hellcats and Jeeps. I mean, these are like 75 to, almost $90,000 vehicles that Jake was giving these girls, so you're winning 50 grand there. Plus you had over a $50,000 vehicle that these girls were getting. Cause I know none of them were less than 50 racks, for the vehicle. So they were looking at $100,000 in prize money. And then the taxes on whatever that is, that should, and living in California, that's even more expensive. Living in California is like living in New York when it comes to taxes. It's not living like somewhere in Dallas, where in Florida, where the taxes are low. You're in that's a state where the taxes are as high as they possibly get.
We have a
So
man here from New York. New York's not that, it's expensive to live in New York, isn't it?
I hate it playing in New York. The taxes, my chest. I hate it playing in New York because, like, people understand in the NFL
let's
when you
put
play there, every state you play in, that's where you get taxed at. In New
Yeah,
York,
go
it's
ahead. Go ahead.
worse.
What about
let's
Sister
put it
Kim?
this way. I don't live by myself, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah, I know you don't. And me, I was working two jobs at one point. I was working at a gas station or working at a textile plant. Then I was working at the textile plant and working at the strip club. And then I think my best job was working at Smithfield Packing. And I was there just not even a year because I was dealing with my medical stuff. I was in and out, in and out. And I remember when I went to file for my unemployment. When I left Sophie, I was there for 5 years. First, I was there for 8, and then I went back for another 5. When I left Sophie, my unemployment was barely $3,000. When I quit Smithfield, it was nearly, now I would say, 3,300,000 dollars. That means that for not even a year in one place, because I was getting my starting pay was $10. By the time I left, I was like 14, and that was not even a year. And that tells me that somebody really was investing into their workers. Because, like I said,
Exactly.
I had short term, long term disability was pretty good. I had Blue Cross Blue Shield that covered a lot of the surgeries, and also I was part of a union. I was going to try and get it back, but then, the night I left, I went to the union office, but I didn't want to wait, so I went home. I was tired, and then I said I was going to find my unemployment, and then my mom got sick, so I got to hear my mom, and then I went back to strip club, started working there until my friend said go ahead and apply for your disability, and that it took a couple of years, and I finally got it, because with this here, I can't work a lot of places because if I work in kind of factory like that, it's heavy machinery. And then you put in your application, say, I have a pacemaker. Most employers says, that's a risk, especially insurance wise, because you already have an issue. But I remember, but I know where I worked at Smithfield, my mom would say, take my take her disability slacker. I can put it in the window in my car. Mom, by the time I get to work, the disability spots are already filled. So I have to park on the other side of the building because by the time I get to work, they're already filled. Because I have to get in. I have to be on the floor by 3. I get there. I usually sometimes I drive myself because somebody have a doctor's appointment that day, and depending on how long I feel my sister at Fayetteville. My doctor was in Fayetteville. I was seeing the specialist, and then there's times where I remember the day I quit. It was lucky for me that I had my car, or sometimes I was riding on a van. But and because there was come through and pick me up, and I go ride that van and go ride back home. But there's times where I know I have to, if I had an appointment, I say, I can't catch the van, so I just drive my car. But that's the thing is, I understand your frustration with what she's doing. I understand it, but people are going to feel some kind of, because they don't know the whole truth. They only know what we see. And like I said again, it doesn't hurt to help if you can. Sometimes if it's just using for maybe to take care of stuff or whatever she might need, we don't know because it takes a while for you to recover from these surgery. Even though her was like, I think we're just removing some fragments. It may not even see her compete this year. Same thing with Michaela. She's dealing with her situation, and she's still like not even
So what happened with her? I don't even know. Tina came in. I was kind of half.
It was some issue with her knee.
Okay.
And she's been having problems since I think right about the end of the year. They really started bothering her, and now she's right now considering stepping away from competing. She may not compete this year. If you're, right now she's talking to doctors and specialists and figure out what the problem is right now. So,
because one of her legs was always bigger than the other. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, because her especially her height, being how short she is. And she puts on a lot of muscles. Just the same. You got to remember, it's just the same. Me being a fat man, how it affects your knees. Her with all that muscle, her height, her body build. I mean,
no, I get it because I remember Dr. Pro, my orthopedic. He came in when I had my right knee scoped about a few years ago. She goes, "You want the good news or the bad news?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll take the good news first." She goes, "Well, the good news is that we can fix your right knee, we can clean it up, but the bad news is at some point in time, your left knee is going to have to be replaced." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Well, from all the wear and tear of you playing sports all your years and training and all this stuff, your left knee is eventually going to be replaced. So that's why I'm doing these U-Flex injections right now, because it kind of gives me a little bit more longevity to be able to still lift heavy and do the things that I do, but understand, the inevitable at the end of the day, and I feel, Michaela, is the inevitable. It all comes to an end at some point in time because we pushed our bodies to the limit. So I get it.
Yeah, she would compete since she was in her early 20s, and she earned a pro card back in. Every one of the ladies that competed the same year, they earned a pro card. That was back in 2015.
And that's what I said, in athlete years, I'm like 100.
You're the oldest man in the world, huh?
In athlete years, I'm like,
yeah, and I like I said, I do feel bad for both of them, Hella and Michaela. Hella's been in the game for long. I don't know would she finally retire. I thought maybe after that last Olympia would have been done for her, because now she's running a business. Her, Jay Fuchs, Irene Anderson, and also
Team 4 Pro Coaching.
Yeah, they're doing that.
Gina Caballero is the other one.
Yeah, Gina Caballero. I interviewed Gina, and they have a business plan. Maybe it's time for her to step back and focus. Like one of the competitors I interviewed, that's one of her clients, is Sandra Kanichi. She just got a pro card last year at the Imperial. I know Bev was here. Bev was actually working with her with opposing with Hella, and and maybe it's time. And most definitely, I know Jake would give her a position at Wings of Strength. Something she can find her to do, because she was one of the Miss Rising Phoenix champion, multiple time a top 3 competitor in the Olympia. She did actually 6 Olympias, because the first one was 2003, they won 2011. I think she came back That's when she came back because he was doing it. Because you remember years ago, she had an injury that put her out for about 7 years,
Yeah.
and she came back, and then she did a Olympia in 2011, her first return. Then she did it for a good while. I think her last was, I think, 2012, 2013. And then, when they brought back women's bodybuilding to the Olympia, then she did her next three, 2021, and 2022, and then took a break and did 2024. And maybe it's like any athlete, it's that time to sit back and considering, is it worth pushing yourself? You're going to have health issues and problems. The extreme nature of the sport, and then in a day, what do you have to show for it for yourself?
Well, and again, at the end of the day, what people have to understand, when it comes to women, it's not only their health, but it just changes you as a person in general. We all know what I'm talking about. It just changes, the dynamic. That's why you love I love her to death, and I actually commented because she had commented on your deal, George, like great picture, this, that, and other. I said, Linda, I said, you know why you're great? I said, because you're the only woman I know, besides Alina, that will sit with. I remember being at the New York Pro in Tampa, and Kansas was sitting next to me, like we're like right behind press row, and Linda and Alina's like, Kansas, come up here. And Kansas had to be 3 or 4 years old at the time, maybe 5. And they all went and got Starbucks, and she's sitting in press row with Alina and with Alina and with Linda, like doing the show. And then I remember Linda said, "Hey, Kansas, call me sometime," and literally talked to my Kansas had to be 5 or 6 at the time. Talked to Kansas they're talking about cats and animals for about 2 hours, and I said, "That's why I respect you. That's why I love you, because you're always been honest and you walk to." And here's the thing: the one thing that people have to respect Linda more than anything is she called Arnold out for one on his own platform, and she left the sport on her own terms. She didn't let anybody defy her, let anybody dictate what she did. She left and went out on her own terms. And she's an amazing, probably the most amazing human being, woman, bodybuilder I've ever met in my entire life. Ever.
Yeah.
Because that's who she is.
I remember when I was at Savannah, and I was sitting in the a little bit into the VIP section, and she turned around, she smiled at me. That was just I don't know, being that it just she's a great lady. I mean, I wasn't back then. I wasn't a big Linda Murray fan. I was more like Laura Creative Advocate Gates, but now I have a lot of respect for what she's doing. One thing I wish that if I could do this, back her up, make her more of a brand, make her like almost the Arnold Schwarzenegger level, like get some more shows, bring back Savannah, bring back Norfolk, bring some shows to Texas where you don't have to wait for somebody to, because you just dropped Texas Pro from the lineup this year, and maybe do some shows more out west.
Wait.
Yeah, you didn't hear?
No.
Yeah, this was this was like maybe the couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned it, or you may have been. What's that day? I can't remember. Wasn't that day? I think it was that day when we were doing our live stream last Monday, and he wasn't here.
Yeah.
And then a lady I know, I was like, I think it was like that weekend before, and she asked me about the show. And I said, okay, I'm going to check. She said, asked me, when's the show? I want you to see, because I want to know, because it was a show. I think it was Detroit Pro. And she wanted me to check on it. I said, well, let me check on it and when the dates of it. And then I said, well, I was here on NPC News Online. I said, you know what? Let me check something. Sometimes you just want to, it's curious because, it was on the list after last year. And then it was still there last month. And I just said, let me just check. And I looked at the list because that the Tupelo Pro is going to have women's bodybuilding, but I think it's just going to do masters. They didn't say open like you do with the others. And then, as you know, Tupelo and Tampa was on the same week as the Masters Olympia.
Yep.
The 8th and the 9th. Then I looked at it and I said, I don't see it. Then I checked the women's physique list. I said, it's still there. But what it is, Freddie and Sheila Brown, they hadn't even announced it or say anything about it. I posted on my IG and I said, "What's going on?" I mean, it's just they just dropped it from the list. And some couple ladies, I sent it to them because they wanted to compete in that show. Like I know Rama Scott said she was gonna make her debut with bodybuilding in Texas. I sent the link, say, "Hey, this is the list. We re-advised it. Here's the link. You want to check it out." He said now she has to change her plans because she wanted to make her debut in Texas at this show in women's bodybuilding. And I know one lady that I did a while back, moving both KL, that's Brittany, Parrish. She also mentioned she was going to make her bodybuilding debut in Texas because she lives in Texas.
Yeah.
And then I just did an interview Sunday, lady that both BK both interviewed, that's Crystal Garcia. She just told me that they dropped figure from the Legion Sports Festival.
So they don't have women's physique anymore. Now they don't have figure.
No, because you can look at the list because she told me that. Look at the list, it wasn't there because you can find the other divisions for the Legion because they're gonna have that in around about June.
Wow.
Because I remember when Yvonne Pennington mentioned it on her social media that she was the last person to win the title for women's physique at the Legion.
So they won't have the Masters or the Open at all.
Neither one, I believe.
Wow. Again, the amazing thing about what I am so baffled about this whole thing, and Jeremy and KL, everybody correct me if I'm wrong. How do you call yourself the Arnold Sports Festival or the Legion Sports Festival? And I've been to both of these shows, and they have a lot of stuff going on. And to leave out certain things like figure or women's physique or even women's bodybuilding, but you have all these other all these other things. It's like, how do you call yourself a sports fest then? I don't.
It's not so much. It's not so much about the bodybuilding, more about the other. Like I interviewed a lady that her name is Brian. Me Kara interviewed her too. She's a bikini competitor, but she competed there last year to get her pro card. But she's now competing there to do the strongman competition. She's going to do bench press at that show.
Yeah.
Rihanna.
Sorry, guys, I got to head out. So it's been a good it's been a great conversation, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, peace. But yeah, it's just we all know the things that was. No one's really going to do anything to make improvements in the IFBB. They're going to stick the same old, same old. That's one thing that no one's going to try to pull a union because they're afraid of if you do that, then they're going to get repercussions for it. But here's again, I see like this. No one comes to see the promoters. No one comes to see the judges. No one comes to see the sponsors. Who come to see the athletes. If anything, just like the NFL, just like any other major league sports, you're supposed to take care of athletes. No one goes to see Roger Goodell or just saw people talking shit about the All-Star weekend because I mean,
because the young guns came out and actually made the OGs play. So everybody was like, Draymond Green was like, oh well, for them to be able to step on this court, it's like you guys did this to yourselves. You guys didn't want to play. You guys wanted to fuck around. Everybody lost interest. So the NBA says we're going to do something different. And so they had this thing, and then the OGs had to end up playing. Everybody's like East versus West. Well, the East versus West game was getting bullshit. Nobody was watching it. You're losing ratings and everything else. But now you got these young guys, this young all-star team that comes to the court, and now you got these old heads, and guess what? The old heads like, oh, we got to play now. We got to play. And so, and now they're talking about next year doing the international deal. So it's like, United States versus the international guys, which would be awesome. Because the international
on an all-star game.
Yeah, so they would do international games instead of having East versus West, you would have the USA versus the all-stars of the European all-stars who play in the NBA, but also who so you have the USA all-star team and the European, because half of this league is a lot of European guys as well. So. Yeah. That's a possibility. And here's the thing I can say about what you touched on just a few seconds ago, George. When I played arena ball for a couple of years, and I remember Kurt Warner came from Arena 2 and won, I think 2 or 3 Super Bowls with the Rams, and then he went to, I can't remember who else he played for. He's a Hall of Famer, and nobody ever expected. But when I went to play arena football, they had started a union there, the arena football union, and the owners hated it because what this union did was protect the athletes, and the athletes understood it was like the NFLPA. Players in arena football, because it was huge at the time, it was all over TV. It was kind of like the farm league for the NFL, but wasn't because it had no affiliation. Then NFL owners start buying these arena teams and LA Crush and Tampa Bay Storm, and I played for the New York Dragons and all this other stuff. They start doing these things. What it did for the players and empowered the players to understand that they had somebody speaking for them and them not speaking for themselves. That's I don't know how the athletes would congregate to come to that conclusion to do that something like that for the IFBB. As an amateur, you're an amateur. It is what it is at the end of the day. But when you enjoy that, when you join that elite club of pro athletes, like Lee Pre said, they hand pro cards out to everybody. But at the end of the day, you have enough athletes at the IFBB pro level, old and new, that can start something like that. But I think at the end of the day, everybody, when I was an amateur competing and I was a runner up, it was a story that was out there that I was talking shit and I was complaining about being a runner up. I knew better. I knew better than to say anything because I knew that if I bitched and I complained, it was just going to put me further back than where I was. And I was a 3-time runner up at USA's and Nationals before I turned pro at Team U. But I knew that, I just had to keep my mouth shut because the powers that be control and define the sport. At some point in time, these athletes, and I can probably say this now because I'm at the tail end of my career, whatever happens, happens anyway. I said, we as athletes somehow have to empower ourselves as a whole, not individuals, as a whole to this sport. Because if not, it's going to stay the same to the end of time. Bottom line at the end of the day. But I think there's just so many people scared of getting blackballed and not being able to speak their mind and how they feel that's why it's just staying the same.
Yeah. The thing. I think people just be complacent into the situation. No, you could do better. Like when unions first started, a lot of people didn't want to change, but what happened was back in the day, you used to work 6 days a week and sometimes half a Sunday. Now you get 5 days a week. You get a long weekend. You get benefits and stuff like that. You get hurt and injured, and that's important. It's just like if anything in bodybuilding still says a fringe sport. A lot of people just get along to get along, and no one wants to put the neck out there. It has to take that one
at the end of the day, the problem is most of these athletes in this sport, that's all they know. They don't know how to look into what makes the MLB so successful? What does make the NBA PA so successful? What's what made now the WNBA in their Players Association, where these women are now starting to, not much, but getting their pay scales going up, and the NFLPA, et cetera, all these other pro sports who have these unions. I just don't understand as an athlete how they're not somebody, whether it's a Flex or whether Flex, I don't even know who pays Flex bills. He's been through a lot of health issues. Ronnie, I know he's done very well for himself. Ronnie's a multimillionaire. But at the end of the day, I look at it as what you said earlier in this conversation. Kai Green said it best. And we're talking about a guy from New York, homeless, grew up in a group home. And what Kai finally realized after Generation Iron, the first one, it was like he says, and I remember if you go to YouTube, you see you look at C.T. Fletcher, Keith Williams, and Kai Green, and I remember him looking at me and says, and I say this all the time, and I remember this, and I'll live by this saying: use the sport for what you can get out of the sport, and not what the sport can get out of you. And I don't think enough of these athletes do that. And at the exact same time as I say that, I think some of the athletes that are not competing as in pro shows are doing it to get the pro card, to have the status, to become you have to take tests to be a trainer. NANSM, ICE, ACE, all these things to be a trainer. But when you have that IFBB behind your name, that carries a lot more weight than just being a trainer. So it's one of those things where I think that that's what's going on at this point in time, is that a lot of these people are chasing after these pro cards because it's helping them make more money in their residual business besides competing. And I think
Yeah,
the IFBB realizes that, and that's where they're like, hey, if you're not going to use this pro card, then you're going to lose it.
yeah. That's the thing is it's just it's the money thing. Yeah, I even remember there was a fighter. Her name was she was in UFC. She wanted to start a union, but then Dana White didn't want that, and he she had one more fight on her contract, and instead of just let her finish that out her contract, maybe he just buy her out because he felt like she was a threat. And what her problem was, she should have kept it on the down low. She was telling too many people about what she was doing. Sometimes we do something like that, you got to move in silence. You have to,
Yeah,
you can't trust everybody.
yeah,
Like make sure you talk to a lawyer. Make sure you know who you can talk to. Sometimes even your friends, the people can, as I quote, we like to say, walk quiet behind you and stab you in the heart.
yeah.
So, but yeah, but
But
you
pissing
know,
certain people off, and that shit comes out, can come back to haunt you. So the bottom line at the end of the day, that the NPC has put the NPC and the IFBB have put the fear into people. Have put the fear into people. So not everybody wants to talk. I mean, I imagine that's why people don't want to come on your show, is because they don't want to put themselves out there, because they don't want to. There's a thing called what the people don't understand is a constructive criticism, and they don't understand that. And it's like, we're not bitching. We just want it to be better. And how can it be better? By the people that are in charge. You're not on stage. You're not Tyler. What I mean, let's be honest. Tyler, Jim, Steve, Sandy, all these judges. What are they sacrificing? What are they sacrificing? What have they done to sacrifice anything besides being in the position that they are in? They haven't. I'm just being honest. What have they had to sacrifice? The NFLPA is a group of guys who have played the sport. The NBA is a group of guys. The NFL, MLBA, the NHL are a group of guys. Majority have played the sport and are speaking for the athletes, not people who don't understand what they've been through or gone through or trying to protect them. They're not a bunch of individuals trying to collect checks for themselves. They're trying to make it better for the sport, for the fans, for the athletes, and everybody else. And that is the problem. It's like, this is such an individual, selfish sport that they're not trying to protect the athlete, who, like you said, are the ones that are suffering, the ones that are dying, the ones that are giving up giving up everything to be who they are, to impress these people who, at the end of the day, we don't know if they give a shit or not. Let's be honest. Let's keep it real.
yeah, yeah, that's the truth.
And I'm
It's
not
the truth,
bitching, and I'm
Ruth.
not trying to diss anybody or dog out anybody, but at the end of the day, it's like, who are the people that make the sport? Roger Goodell doesn't make the NFL. The players make the NFL. The MLB, the MLB is based off of my son and other players making the sport. NCAA, guess what? Guess who finally got put on blast and is going to have to pay millions of dollars to college athletes? The NCAA, because they were using them for years. And somebody finally stepped up and says, this is not fair to these athletes. And so they are having to pay out a check to these athletes for using their likeliness and things like that. You want to get on the thing and talk? Then don't talk. If you're not going to get on the show, don't talk. Because we're talking about the conversation.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, come on, yeah. God.
So at the end of the day, they're using their likeliness. And so at the end of the day, they're having to pay these athletes for this. Do I agree with it? No. But at the end of the day, the NCAA has made, just like the USOC, has made a shit ton of money off of athletes. So now these judges and people are sitting there saying, you have used these athletes especially the USOC and Olympics, have used these athletes and used these people for so much that you have to pay these athletes a certain amount of money because these athletes are being used. It's no different than the bodybuilding sport, right? It's no different. It's no different.
Mm. Yeah,
And the
that's the
risk
thing
versus
is that
reward is crazy.
yeah, and the thing is, it's gonna take some people who really want to take the risk to make the change, but not too many people want to do it. They are gonna
It takes a
be
lot of power. It takes a lot of
yeah,
power to overthrow. I was just, it's like, I just watched the movie Gladiator 2 for the first time, and that was a great movie. It takes a lot to overthrow Rome. It took a lot to overthrow Rome, but you
yeah,
need some brave souls to want to do it, and if they're not willing to do it, then it'll just stay the same.
yeah. So that's you gotta sit back and think about it. Is a risk worth the reward? If you're not willing to risk anything, then in the day, if you complain about not having anything, then that's on you. You have to, accept that the fact that you have to take that opportunity to stick up and fight for yourself, fight for
And I
what you
get it. The
want.
insurance thing is tough for the IFBB. That shit will never fly because everybody, it's just like Jeremy and everybody says. We know what's tied to this sport, and it's always going to be tied to the sport, is PEDs. So, and a lot of people, on their own ignorance, think that PEDs, are part of the deaths that's going on in the sport. Well, like I told people a long time ago, Flex Wheeler, if you ever get a chance to read one of his books, the doctor said your liver transplant or kidney transplant didn't come from your PEDs. It came from a genetic disorder that's in your bloodline somewhere. The one thing I can't save you from is diuretics and insulin shock, not steroids. So, but again, at the end of the day, we're never going to get past that just from the standpoint of, that's what, people affiliate our sport with. And no insurance company in their right mind is going to be like, hey, Jim, hey, Tyler, hey, we would love to insure your athletes because they understand that's a big risk for them to take just because of the association with PEDs.
Hmm. Well, brother, like I said, it's just like I said, it's up to these people who want to fight for themselves and don't want to fight for themselves. There's nothing you can do about it. And if they want to speak out and say, "Hey, we have a problem. We need to take care of it," but we're just gonna just go with the flow as we have been going for years. That's the truth of it. So but anyway, it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
I do appreciate like when Bev for coming through. We had a woman. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I appreciate Jamie coming through. You shot my man KL. As you know, last night me and him we had a little conversation. He had
Hey, not to cut you off, did you touch on that whole Bev thing? That thing? Did you guys touch on that anytime soon?
which one?
The announcement that they were shutting that league down?
Oh yeah, we talked about that because her husband, yeah, Betty Pariso. Yeah, we talked about her husband being sick, and now they're shutting it down. So I don't know. It's not a threat anymore. They might try to come back with it. I don't know because it was maybe they were really into it. A lot of people now are going to be kind of like trying to find a way because now if they jumped on this ship, they're going to drift down. How his dog said because many of them can't. I think some can go back, but I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
the city girls can go to Fit Model.
yeah, but not the ones in the curvy. They have to really get in shape and maybe do maybe wellness or maybe do physique.
Yeah, no gown models though.
No guy mileage, yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, guys, I do appreciate this time with y'all when talking with y'all. Anybody got anything to say for it? Like, kid, got anything to say before we head out?
No, no, no. Just thanks for having me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah,
kid, you
keep
said
going your head, keep that's all I could say,
What'd you say?
Now I said hold your head, if
Oh,
anything. I mean, when she was saying, I look at it as a blessing because there's a lot of talented athletes and they don't really make it to where you made it. So, you know,
yeah. Just you just. I always tell people just surround yourself by the right people, and make sure you get the right advice, and don't get caught up too much in anything any hype because we're at the end of the day we're just human beings. I don't
yeah,
expect anybody to treat me any special, nor does Tina. We're just human beings. People treat us different. But at the end of the day, we all wake up. We all, I mean, it's a persona, and I don't want to be treated any different than anybody else at the end of the day, and that's what it boils down to, and that's what makes us all human beings at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. Like I said, brother, you just gotta keep on, like Rocky Balboa said best. Just keep moving forward.
Exactly.
Take the hits and keep moving forward. Because most people can't do what y'all do. And I keep saying this. This is one thing I keep saying. The IFBB and the NPC should invest in their athletes as much as they invest in anything else. Because it wasn't for y'all. No one comes see the show. No one comes see Jim Mannion. No one comes see any of the promoters or the judges. We come see y'all. And if
Yeah.
anything, y'all should have more security. Should have more help. All the things that any athlete in any sport needs to, just survive. And I know he's not a fan of what Hela's doing. I understand that, but like I said, my heart goes out to her. I mean, I'm thinking about maybe, getting knee surgery in the future because, it's an issue. I can't move around like I used to, when I really, really need something, try to solve a problem. If not, I just talked to my, to a lady from my doctor's office. I was hoping to see if they have, my doctor had got me a referral back to my orthopedics so I can see what they can do. But I got to take things one day at a time. Like, one day at a time, sweet Jesus.
That's right.
That's all I can do.
All right.
So, again, I appreciate the people that were here. Shout out to Balls Deep that was here. Also, Raheem talking shit. You should have been here last week. Raheem talking all that shit. Yeah. But I appreciate my man Kale. He just left here. I appreciate my brother Big Keith. Also, my man, from Art of Female Muscles, Fit fan. Also, Beverly Coleman. Wish her best of luck. She's planning. Beverly's planning on making her competitor's debut. It's been a while. It's been not debut. It's been a while since she competed, said 4 years. So she's planning on doing a regional show and maybe try to do a pro qualifier if she can. She's a great lady. She takes time here and talk with us because it was a day off because today is President's Day. But to Hella, wish the best of recovery. To Michaela, wish the best of luck in whatever you do. I am going to, as I already tried to do, I want to post something for her. I'll probably do it tomorrow. I got to do laundry tomorrow. I might do it. I'm not saying, I do laundry tomorrow. Yeah. So, but thank again, all y'all who are here, who support my channel, who support my content. I appreciate y'all. To you competitors out there, get the help you need if you can. Any kind of help you can, because like I said, it's expensive. To come for somebody who has a pacemaker, who lives on Medicaid and a disability, it's hard. It's a struggle. There's days I wish I could work, but now with these issues, my knees and stuff, I know it'd be hard. I mean, especially me. I mean, I like to lose some more weight, but food is addictive. So anyway, but I appreciate you coming through. Thank y'all for your comments, thank you for your support. Share, like, comment, subscribe, and just reach out to these ladies and send them support. This is Bell Rachel page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't like, subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out. Good luck, good night, and God bless.